Hello, here to take us through the French newspapers is Florence Vimino. Hello, Florence.
Hi,
now, today the new French government is getting back to work after a pretty long summer break. What are the papers making of that then?
Well, a lot of papers are impatient for the government to get to work, and first and foremost is the right-leaning newspaper Le Figaro, which says that it's a state of emergency for President François Hollande. It says that the crisis has caught up with the government and it has its work cut out for it concerning the deficit, struggling growth and unemployment. And it's in the editorial of Le Figaro, it calls on Hollande to have courage and quickly. It says that François Hollande actually probably shouldn't have taken a summer holiday in the first place because given the scale of problems that are facing France, what French people want is a president that is active, reactive, and most importantly, on the job. And it says that he needs to have the courage to tell French people the truth and snap into action.
What about the left-leaning papers?
Well, Libération, the left-leaning newspaper, says that Hollande has a rendezvous with the crisis, and it says that the government meeting today is happening with this looming threat of a slowdown in growth. And it points out that the government has predicted that the growth rate for 2013 is going to be 1.2%, but according to Libération, a lot of economic experts say that it's actually going to be a lot lower than that. So this has sparked a lot of concern in Libération. Now, Libération is also concerned about signs that Germany is starting to feel the pinch of the crisis. Now, it may have seemed as if Germany has somewhat resisted the crisis up until now. It looks as if its economy is starting to feel the heat, according to this article in Libération. Even if compared to its European neighbors, Germany seems like somewhat of an El Dorado. There are warning signs, for instance, according to this article in Libération, production is starting to shrink. And this would have very serious consequences for France because Germany is France's first trading partner.
Now, one thing that this government is preoccupied about, that it's going to be looking into, is job creation for young people, and that's something the papers are looking at too.
That's right. The Les Echos, the business daily, is looking at taking a closer look at just what the government has up its sleeve. Youth unemployment, just what the government is preparing. Now, the policy is called Emploi d'avenir, so I guess you could translate that as jobs for the future. And basically, over the next 5 years, the government is going to fund the creation of 150,000 jobs for young people in both the public sector, but also in the private sector under certain conditions. Now, their target is 16 to 25-year-olds with little or no experience. And in their editorial, Les Echos actually shoots down this initiative and says that this is nothing new, actually, and it's not going to change anything. This new policy is actually an old idea that was proven inefficient, according to Les Echos, but it's this old idea under a new name, basically. And according to Les Echos, it's only going to put off the problem of youth unemployment and cost the government a lot of money.
All right, moving on to something else the government's going to be talking about today. That's the plight of the Roma, and some say the Hollande government isn't really much different in that regard to the Sarkozy one.
That's right, and we're going to start by looking at L'Humanité, the communist newspaper that says, sortons de la politique des bulldozers, let's put an end to the policy of the bulldozer policy. Now, in their editorial, L'Humanité says that France is treating the Roma community like second-class citizens, and it says that the government, as you were saying, is actually acting just like Sarkozy was, especially the Interior Minister, Manuel Valls, according to the editorial in L'Humanité. And it says that it's a time to put a stop to this policy of evictions. It's time to stop the policy of kicking members of the Roma community out of France. It says that this policy is costly, inefficient and unbearable on a human level. It's time to also stop restricting their access to jobs in France, and it's time to start respecting their rights and dignity. And now it's interesting to note that La Croix, the Christian newspaper, is also talking about this, and they're wondering just how we can integrate members of the Roma community into French society. Now, they on the inside look at 3 ways, basically. First of all is to give them easier access to jobs. The second thing is to give them better housing. And the third thing, which they really say is probably the most important thing, is to promote education, actually, for young members of the Roma community, because many of them, though they live in France, receive no education whatsoever.
All right, thank you very much, Florence, for taking us through the French newspapers, and thank you for watching. Do stay tuned.